Hi everybody, it's Andrew Hutchings with you here tonight. Still not a doctor, still don't know if I'll end up being a doctor, we'll see. And the topic of today, I haven't really thought out a good title, but it's like a friend of mine just messaged me. I heard Anavar only cycle is shit. It kills your testosterone and you can't get hard. So I decided I'll make a video about it because I just responded to him. And I want to say that I make a lot of videos about steroids, and that's just because they're easy. But like, people are all into drugs. They don't ask so many questions about training. And like when I talk to my friends, everybody's well, and a lot of my friends are using steroids or planning on using steroids. But basically, the topic of steroids is much more popular than how exactly you should work out. So that's what I end up talking about. Now, if I had an idea to talk about something else, well, I would talk about something else. But typically, I just go off what I happen to talk about with someone, then I make a video of it. But I'll get back on topic. So, Anavar only cycle. Does it kill testosterone more than other steroids? Is that why you can't get hard on it? No, that is not true at all. Anavar affects testosterone the least out of any steroid I know of, or any popular, well-known one. Perhaps there is a steroid out there that affects it even less than Anavar, but that steroid is not really well known of. It hasn't been documented much because, as far as I know, it doesn't exist. But I do believe there could be a steroid that would affect it less than Anavar. But no one knows of one, or maybe someone knows of one and hasn't told the rest of the world. So the reason you would have more trouble getting hard on Anavar than on testosterone or Dianabol or something would be that Anavar does not replace the functions of testosterone the way testosterone replaces its own functions or Dianabol replaces its functions. Anavar does not aromatize into estrogen, and believe it or not, estrogen is important for male erections. Additionally, Anavar is not very androgenic, although it does cause its anabolic effects through the androgen receptors. It does not have very many androgenic effects, like male pattern baldness, facial hair growth, deepening of the voice for females, and erections. Now, there is actually a interesting phenomenon where your first few doses of Anavar, perhaps even your first couple days, maybe, you could have more erections because Anavar is a DHT derivative and has a higher affinity for sex hormone binding globulin than testosterone. So what happens is you take the Anavar, and so here's your sex hormone binding globulin, and it has some testosterone in it. Now imagine the testosterone is still there, but then the Anavar comes and it goes, bam, knocks the testosterone off, and it goes there instead. So now you have an extra testosterone floating around. But you don't just have one extra, you have a lot extra, because you have many molecules of oxandrolone, Anavar now in your body. So that testosterone just came out from the sex hormone binding globulin, and now your blood testosterone levels are higher, and testosterone acts like testosterone does and will increase erections. However, after the first couple doses, probably only the first day, maybe the first two, your body will start to react to the Anavar and the more free testosterone in the system by shutting down testicular function. It has been shown, I think at 20 milligrams, perhaps 40, I can't remember exactly, that after 3 days, that testosterone decreases by about 30% or so. Don't quote me on those numbers. It doesn't matter actually exactly how much it lowers. The point is, it doesn't lower that much. I mean, that's a lot, 30%, but it's not like it just turns off like that. Then it was after a few more days, it gets down to like 50%, and then after a number of weeks, like 2 or 3, you will get down to 30 or 20% of your testosterone. So it has decreased by like 30% after 3 days. It has decreased by 50% after like 5 or 6 days. And it has decreased by 80% or so after 14 to 20 days. And presumably, if you were to continue the use indefinitely, testosterone would go down nearly to zero. Now, testosterone would not go down completely to zero because not all of your testosterone is made in your testicles. And you need estrogen, and your body needs to produce testosterone. Well, let's leave it at that. So, yes, you have your testosterone has gone down, and you have Anavar in your system. The Anavar, like I said, does not work like testosterone does. So that's why people have that confusion. They have trouble getting an erection on an Anavar, so they, I must be more shut down than on other stuff. No, you're less shut down. Well, after a certain point, you'll be the same shut down. But before then, you're less shut down. It's just that Anavar cannot help you get an erection after that first day or so. Now, if you went on a dianabol cycle, methandrostenolone, that does have the androgenic effects. It does aromatize into an estrogen even more potent than your normal estrogens. So it is conducive to causing erections. Now, you may still have trouble getting an erection because your balance of androgens to estrogens is going to still be out of whack. So there's no guarantee that you would be able to get good erections on dianabol. I'm not saying you won't, but there's no guarantee because your body needs a specific balance of androgens to estrogens, and if that balance is too much androgens to too little estrogens, you can't get an erection sometimes. If that balance is too little androgens to too much estrogens, well, you can't get an erection sometimes. And if you're too low on both of them, once again, can't get an erection sometimes. Too high in both of them, you probably just got a text message. You probably can, but who knows? So basically, if you take another steroid, you are masking the effects of your low testosterone. And if you are literally taking testosterone, well, you're masking the effect of low endogenous testosterone because you're getting it from an external source, which is actually a very good, healthy idea. And that's why I personally, now I'm not recommending you do this, but theoretically and educationally, it could be wise to supplement testosterone in a dose-dependent, so as your testosterone, so you don't want to just start with testosterone, start with Anavar, because it's stupid and a waste. You already have enough testosterone at the beginning, and if you were to take extra testosterone, it would just make your normal testosterone go down faster. So that's why you wait 3 days. Now you still have 80% of your normal testosterone, maybe 70, who knows exactly how much you're going to have, but that's probably enough to maintain healthy bodily functions. So it'd be good to still hold off on taking external testosterone. Now you go a few more days, you're down to 50%. Now you're probably starting to feel a little out of it. Who knows, maybe, maybe not. A good gauge, in my opinion, would be water retention. Because as testosterone, now, it's not a perfect gauge because estrogen has a longer half-life than testosterone. So testosterone turns into estrogen, but the estrogen will stick around longer than the testosterone. So even once your testosterone is too low, you will still have enough estrogen for a little while. But after a few more days, that estrogen will be a good indicator of low testosterone. If you're on a non-aromatizable steroid like Anavar, aka oxandrolone. So once you start to notice achy joints, maybe you notice you're drier looking, or perhaps you start to notice erectile dysfunction. That's when it can be good or wise to start implementing, injecting, however you want to do it, introducing testosterone into your body to make up for the lack of testosterone. And it would make sense to start at a very low dose, and then after another week or so, raise it back up. And probably after a few weeks, you would want a full replacement dose. And a full replacement dose, contrary to popular belief, is not 150 to 250 milligrams per week. Your body only naturally makes about 50 milligrams per week. Now, when it is bound to an enanthate ester, only about 80% or so of that testosterone you're injecting is actually testosterone. So maybe you inject 70 milligrams per week. because that would be about 50. Yes, 70, not 150, not 200, not 250. We're just trying to maintain normal testosterone levels. But it wouldn't hurt, most likely, to go with 100. And it could be good because I have some thoughts in my head, but I haven't thought about them before, so I don't want to say them right now. I mean, yeah, probably just go with 70, but hey, what the hell? You're trying to take steroids. I mean, you're not trying to, you are taking steroids. You're trying to build extra muscle. So it probably wouldn't hurt to go with a little extra testosterone, but then again, then you're going to deal with more aromatization, so perhaps only go with the truly replacement dose of 70 per week. And now that 70 you take per week, it would not be wise to take it all in one injection, 1 day per week, considering that the half-life is 5 to 10 days, especially if you're a young fellow and you metabolize things rather quickly, or if you just have a fast metabolism in general. Now, that's not necessarily a 100% indication that you will metabolize the testosterone from its ester quickly, or that it will seep from the oil quickly, but yes, some people are going to metabolize it faster than others, and just the way the body works, for some people the half-life is going to be closer to 5 days, for others closer to 10 days for like your testosterone enanthate. So I think that it would be wise to take it every 3 days or so, or at least twice a week, considering that if you wait 5 days, now you already have possibly only half the amount you began with. And the goal would be to have steady blood levels, or if you're going to do a short cycle, now this is not typical, I personally would go with testosterone suspension and inject it in the morning, perhaps a little less in the afternoon. That way you mimic your natural testosterone, where it has a rise in the morning and it wears off by the evening. However, if you are also going to be taking Anavar, you should also only take the Anavar in the morning and in the afternoon. That way you don't have any androgens agonizing the release of endothelium, causing vasoconstriction in your kidneys while you're sleeping. That way your kidneys can have an easier time and not be too stressed, not cause some damage. But I know I've been saying a lot of stuff, and it's probably hard to take it all in at once, so maybe watch this a few more times. And I'm going to try to think of what I should go back to clear things up. So yes, if you're going to take a non-aromatizable steroid like Anavar, it could be advisable to supplement testosterone to replace your decrease in testosterone. Now, all steroids are going to decrease your testosterone, but some can replace the functions of testosterone. Anavar cannot replace the functions of testosterone. Testosterone itself is, of course, the very best at replacing the function of your natural testosterone. But if for some reason you did not have access to testosterone, you could try to supplement with something like dianabol, methandrostenolone, because that does also have the capability of fulfilling the tasks, the biological functions that testosterone does. So yeah, I hope that clears up the misconception that allergies, changing of the weather. Hope that clears up the misconception that Anavar decreases testosterone more than other steroids. And yes, it does at the least. But with prolonged use, it will still lead to testosterone being shut down just as much as with other things. Because no matter how little you're suppressing testosterone, given enough time or high enough dose, it will essentially get down to zero. And then you should run a post-cycle therapy to help yourself bounce back in a timely fashion. Because who wants to be shut down any longer than you would need to be? Winstrol is another steroid that would do this because it is non-aromatizable. I think halotestin is also non-aromatizable, but I'm not sure. I don't know much about halotestin. Basically, any nandrolone, yes, to anytime you're using a non-aromatizable steroid, it would be advisable to supplement with testosterone. Even if you're using an aromatizable steroid, we don't necessarily know all the functions of testosterone in the human body. And we have, to my knowledge, but I also haven't looked as hard as I could, there are no studies to show if a person can maintain perfect health on another steroid in place of testosterone. Now, I would think that it's likely that you could be nearly as healthy as you should be on, say, Dianabol instead of testosterone, but still testosterone would be optimal because Dianabol has different properties. It converts into a more potent estrogen that is more resilient to degradation. So it's going to lead to a skewing of your androgen to estrogen ratio. Plus, it's not as androgenic as testosterone, so then you got that going on too. So the moral of this story is it's a good idea to replace your testosterone as it decreases on a steroid cycle. Now, complications that could arise with supplementing testosterone on a Dianabol cycle or something that does aromatize, that would be the topic of another video, but very quickly I would say that the problem you'd run into is excess aromatization. Hope you liked this video. I hope it was informative. Go back and rewatch it so that you can get it into your head, maybe take some notes. Good luck. I don't recommend you take drugs. Drugs are unhealthy. Your body is meant to be the way it is, unless you are seriously ill, in which case, obviously, it's not the way it's meant to be. And check out my Instagram, natural_true_fitness, where you can look at pictures of me. Good pictures. I mean, sounds weird, but I mean, that's what you do. You look at pictures of fitness people. And you can also hire me for coaching, training advice, diet advice, supplement advice, whatever kind of advice. As you've seen by this video, there's a lot to know about this stuff, and chances are, even if you do your research, you're going to get bad information, you're going to make bad decisions, and you really should bounce your ideas off someone that's an expert. Not that I'm an expert, because I don't want to claim to be one, because if I claim to be one, then maybe I would get in trouble for some reason. But maybe I'm also not an expert. I consider myself basically an expert on this stuff, but am I an expert? Who knows? Is your doctor an expert? Most likely not. Is your testosterone replacement doctor an expert? Most likely not, because they don't learn about this in medical school. So yeah, please like and subscribe and comment because it helps the algorithm.